week long because it's freezing here in this country at this time of year.
Really? All
Well,
right.
there's penguins. Penguins live in South Africa. That shows you how cold it is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Cool. Well, thanks for being here. Hello to everyone. And thank you for joining live. It's super fun to have more energy on the calls, to be interacting. We are going to have a fun week. I am so excited about what's ahead. And Crystal and I have been working behind the scenes to make this a really fun and special time for everyone. We are going to be really leaning into number one, what are the big things that God is calling you to in your life? And then number two, how are we going to make that happen? So today we are getting crystal clear on number one, what that looks like. And we are going to be looking at creating our vision and building a legacy of impact, influence, and income. And I believe that God has oh, created us with an amazing plan and a beautiful purpose. And sometimes we just kind of lose a little bit of that vision. And so this week is all about being super intentional, making sure that we are really honoring all of who He created us to be with the gifts and the talents and the skills and the ability to help others and to be able to do those big things in life that He is calling us to. So, if we haven't met yet, hello, my name is Carrie Olson. I am a Christian business coach. And for the last 4 years, I have worked really hard on creating a signature program that's called the Prosperous Coach Blueprint that helps women package the gifts, talents, and skills that God has given them into their very own signature program. Now, a couple of months ago, it's really fun because it's actually been two months on Saturday that I added this new thing in that you'll be hearing about later. But it's just kind of blown me away what God is doing. And I'm really excited to be able to share a little bit more about my journey around what it looks like to fund your own calling. And I also want to introduce you to my friend again, if you are here just jumping on, my friend Crystal Evans coming live from South Africa. So, Crystal, thank you for joining. And will you tell us a little bit more about you?
Sure. Well, I am somebody who helps people to tell their stories and put together their signature speeches and their inspirational speeches. And a little bit of background story of how that happened is because I was using my own story and the story of the people that I worked with to be able to get funders, investors, and clients. And in particular, I built an entire school in Uganda for orphan and needy children that served 200 children a year with
That-
teachers, classrooms, having meals. Many of the children stayed there because either they were orphaned or otherwise they'd be walking 4 hours just to go to school and back. And that was all from telling my story. And then even for the hotel I built, I got investors through telling my story. And then also for Safari Company, I would get high paying clients by telling my story. But then I left a very abusive relationship. So on one side, things were going so wonderful and amazing for me. I was building my empire and I was serving God and I was serving these children. But at the same time, I was in a relationship that was very unhealthy. So I left. And actually, there was this time when I was standing in my hotel reception and I looked out at the lake and I had a prophetic vision of myself traveling Central America and Mexico. And so I just went for it. And it was actually 2 years. I mean, didn't just go for it. It really actually took a while to unravel from the abusive relationship. And I went through a couple of years of struggling in North America, but then I ended up in El Salvador and I prayed and I said, Spirit, God, Holy Spirit, please show me what is my purpose now? How can I help people now? And the answer was very clear. Help them tell their to help people tell their stories. And that's later, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's how Carrie and I met.
Amen. So good. So, like I mentioned, we all have amazing plans, purposes, destinies, callings, and that's really what we're diving into today. And maybe it's not to, you know, do something like either one of us, Crystal or myself,
Mhm.
but we know that God created you with something amazing, and we're just going to take more time this week to be looking into that. So, I just want to share a little bit about my why. And if you've heard this 800 times, I'm sorry. It's just for those of you who are new to both of us, we kind of want to share our own why. And so my journey with this started in 2012. I had been diagnosed with cancer. And at that time, my ex-husband had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And it was really just too much for him, kind of mentally. I remember I was out running errands one day, came home, and he was sitting there with his backpack on the front porch. And I kind of started walking up to him, questioning what the heck is going on. And he said, "Hey, I'm sorry, this is really not very much fun anymore, and I'm done." And literally walked down the sidewalk away from our family. And yes, I had been very sick, and I would agree that our marriage was not very much fun at that point, but the rug was absolutely pulled from underneath my feet. I had no idea that this was happening or that it was this bad. And so that led us into a lot of financial turmoil. I was not prepared to take on the entire mortgage myself, and he was not at a place where he was able to support or contribute really anything financially. So even though I was working a full-time job and a second and a third part-time jobs, I was not able to make enough with those three jobs to pay off our mortgage every month. And so I was paying out of my savings until my dad set me up with a financial advisor, and he's like, "Carrie, this is not sustainable." And I knew that. My pride, I was like, "Oh
Mm.
my gosh, well, what does that mean?" And he said, "You're going to have to let your house go into foreclosure." And I had three little kids. I was working my butt off to try and just like do everything to save it. And he's like, "No, you've got to let this go." And so that was so shameful. I remember, so you probably don't know what this process is like, but they actually have to send a sheriff to your house. They pull up in the car and they bring you the papers and they say, "Ma'am, your house is going to be auctioned off at the county courthouse on this day at this time." And that was terrifying. And, I'd come to the door and my little kids would be like, "Oh, police are here and what's going on?" And they're all excited, and especially my son. But I was like, this is awful because we're basically going to be kicked out of our house. So that led me to, really just try and figure out a million things to make more money. And I thought it was about working harder. So I remember telling my kids that I was going to have to get a fourth job. I was already leaving my younger two with my older one, who was really like 10, 11, 9 at the time, and like for long amounts of time, and that just broke my heart, but I did what I thought I had to do. And maybe you're not in that situation, but I understand that just because of the economy, the way our country is going, just inflation, like people need an option where it's not going to take work harder, get a fourth job, where like, what can we do to bring in another income stream to take some of that financial pressure off of us? Maybe it's paying off debt. Maybe it is funding a coach that you really want to work with. Maybe it is building an orphanage and a safari company. But whatever it is, I know that you guys were each of one of you beautiful ladies were created with a plan and a purpose, and it is good. And during that whole time, that's the verse that I kept saying was Jeremiah 29:11. Like, it didn't seem like it was, it was heading in that direction, but I'm like, okay, I am just going to keep declaring this and
Mhm.
believing that. And so God was there through all of that. We did have 17 sheriff sales on our house, and it fell through every single one of those times. Well, 16 fell through by the 17th. It was 6 years and 2 months later. And I was just like, take the house. I had gotten remarried. We were actually, building and moving into the house I'm in now. And just like God had such an amazing plan and purpose for us. And so I want you all to be able to say, whatever it is, whatever he's calling you to, that you don't have to be restrained by what your bank says, your bank statements, your finances, where you don't have to look and be like, oh, maybe there's a missionary at church on Sunday and they're telling their story and you're like really feeling that pull to help them, but you're like, gosh, there's literally no way I can do that. That was so many of my things. I'm like, I want that is my heart. And yet I literally don't even have, $2 that I can give. And so I just want you to have options. And I want you to be able to not be restrained anymore. And so I love what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be focusing on this week. And my three kids, giving them the ability to not have to, you know, check their bank accounts. Well, they still need to, but like, if we wanted to go skydiving last week and we went, and that was like such a huge blessing because I was a no mom forever. I'm like, guys, I don't think we can, And so to be able to say yes to some of those dreams, to say yes to, funding different missionaries, sponsoring children, building giving to clean water funds, rescuing women from trafficking, like those are the things that God has placed on my heart. And so that's my why. And I know, Crystal, you shared a little bit about your why, but is there anything else that you want to add?
I would say my why is very similar to yours. I'm a mother of four children, and I think that's where it also starts. Our calling starts at home,
Yeah.
and one of my whys is to help ordinary families live extraordinary lives.
Yeah.
Like my children and I'm so grateful for the lives that we've been able to live the past few years. I've got to take my kids to see the humpback whale do flips in the air in front of them in Costa Rica. They've done
They've
cliff
done.
diving. They have swam with sea turtles in Mexico.
Mhm.
They have got to go out in the jungle in Belize. And giving those kids, my kids, those experiences has been one of the best things ever. And then also, yeah, just helping other entrepreneurs is always so rewarding to be able to help other entrepreneurs be able to step into their calling
Mhm.
and share their story. And then the ripple effect of them sharing their story and who they inspire and whose life isn't changed because they inspired somebody. Because that's the beautiful thing about like helping people to tell their story is somebody gets like, look at how many people become your clients from you telling your story. And now those people are able to have their own coaching business, or those people are now like, I'm following your story now with the new thing that you're into. And people are getting so much freedom. You're helping other women have their financial freedom. And so just that's the seed and the power of the story. And it's like it's a seed that grows into not just a tree, but it grows into an orchard. And each of on all those orchards are all those juicy fruits. And that's what I love about a story is it's that power. Anything else about my why? Well, travel. I love travel, but I think not everybody's, maybe not everyone's travels their thing, but yeah. And then again, I found out 2 years ago that my ex actually tore down the school that I built, which was at the time that was very heartbreaking. Actually, today I went and I put a whole bunch of seashells all together in the shape of a heart to represent that my heart is whole and aligned and beating with the purpose that God has for me for this time. And for this time, it is to help the ordinary families live extraordinary lives. And it is though also to be able to powerfully step into more projects to help children.
Yeah.
And I want my calling and my dream is what was torn down that would be built sevenfold or more.
Mm.
That's my calling and dream.
Amen. Ah, I love that. So that's a little bit about us. We want to learn about you guys. If you are here, please put in the chat where you're from, where you're tuning in from, and what maybe just a short sentence about what you feel like God might be calling you to, even though we're going to be talking about our amazing, big, crazy dream next, and we're going to be guiding you in how to unearth that. So put a 1 in the chat if you are here live. And then hello to everyone watching the replay. We're so glad that you're here. Put a 2 in the chat. We just want to get a sense for who's here. And also let you know that we have really good prizes throughout the week. So you want to be
Hey,
here. And
great to see you. Number one, Amanda. June. All right. We got a lot of number ones here. And I'm actually been, Lori, I've been messaging with a few people
awesome.
who weren't able to make today and want to catch the recording and
Okay.
everything too.
Yep. And even if you can't be here live, we understand. Like schedules are crazy,
Absolutely.
but we're going to give every single person here the opportunity to win a prize, which at the end of the week, we are giving away. Crystal and I are both kind of pooling our expertise together. You're going to get one-on-one session with me, one-on-one session with Crystal. And how you get into that is just by commenting. We just want engagement. We don't want to feel like we're talking to just ourselves. So we love to have you on to be, engaging. And that also signals to the algorithm that
Autumn,
our message,
number one. Thank you, Autumn.
yeah, that our message is just getting out, and that's really what we want to happen. So again, we're going to put for every comment, this could get a little crazy, but for every comment, we are going to put your name into a hat. At the end of the week, we will pull out that name for one person to win basically you're going to get an hour with each of us one-on-one. So pretty awesome. We also have some other prizes, so stay tuned, but we're going to keep some things a secret for now. All right. So, our amazing big crazy dream. Um I just want to share a little bit about, sorry, and I also probably should say I'm getting over sickness. So, if I'm coughing and sneezing and blowing my nose, just ignore that for a second. But
Well, we're human. We're all human here.
we know that I've just been saying this, that we are here for such a time as this. I believe that. And we are going to be leaning into creating a movement. Now, I have been in coaching for 4 years. I have loved it. I will always be a coach. I will always help women create their signature program. But if you haven't heard about what I've been doing in the last couple months, I joined something that is called Legacy Builders. And this is basically it's a done for you coaching program. They call it a digital marketing product. I feel like that's a little bit of a confusing name. It's a coaching program. But I don't have to do the fulfillment. So I almost feel like it's affiliate marketing, but where we are getting 100% of the income. And this has been amazing because, we know coaching. If you're here, I believe that you probably have been in the world of coaching somehow. And you maybe have experienced the transformation through having your own coach or through helping coach others. We know that that's life, changing. However, to come up with your own coaching program, that's going to take some time. I lead my clients through a whole process. I know there's some of you on here, you're like, yep, that is a long time, where we're doing the market research, we're doing the interviews, we're laying out the whole modules and what's module one and what handout am I doing and what video am I creating. And like, it's amazing. It's going to take time, it's going to take money, and it's going to, it needs to be percolating and growing. So when I saw this Legacy Builders, I was just like, this is done for you. It's given to us. We can then, help others get started with it. And we get 100% of the profits so that within like 2 to 3 days, you could quite possibly have a fully functioning online business. And so that the short amount of time, there's less risk involved because it's a proven product. Like, you don't have to wonder, you don't have to do the market research. Like, everything has been done for us. We are just handed this beautiful coaching program. And again, I am very picky about what good coaching looks like. This is actually the 5th program with master resale rights that I have purchased. The other 4 were just not up to kind of the quality of standards that I have. And so I never really talked about them. This one is very, very different. So if you're like, yeah, I've heard about them, I've maybe even purchased one or the roadmap or, some of the other ones that are out there, I do want to tell you that stay tuned. Like, this is actually very, very different. And so, we can actually get started with a high demand product. I feel like this is the first step in creating an amazing coaching program, even if that's something you want to do later. You're going to get the ability to practice on a proven offer with lower risk. It's actually a lot less expensive than working with me, but you're going to learn maybe the platforms that you want to be on. How do I create an audience? How do I connect? Storytelling, building an email list, like all the marketing, all of that is going to be basically given to us. And so that it's done and it's quick and it's fast, and you're going to be making money like within, well, I can't say within a certain amount of time. Everyone's journey is going to be different. That's for sure. However, I have just seen, you'll be hearing about some of the stories of the ladies that said yes, where, Destiny has created $50,000 in 50 days. Like, this just blows my mind. I have never had a client in their own coaching create $50,000 in 50 days. Like, that's an amazing testimonial. So, I know, right, Kristen? So it's just really exciting to be able to share this, and you'll be hearing more about it later on. But for now, okay, I'm gonna lead you in an exercise. Is there anything, Crystal, that you want to add before I do the visualization about just having your own amazing, big, crazy dream? All right. Let me pull this up. So, okay, so this is amazing and fun. Now, I'm a super visual person. If you're not, it's going to be okay. I have just realized that I didn't even know this, that not everyone kind of visualizes things in their head the way I do. But we are going to be looking at your purposes, the impact that God is calling you to. And so now you can turn your cameras off. This is a time for you and the Lord. And the only thing that I'm going to, recommend is that you have We're actually going to stand. This is an NLP technique where we're going to stand. We're going to walk this out. We're going to embody this and step into different areas of our life. So I would just grab a piece of paper and a pen and a journal, whatever is handy. And I'm going to be asking you some questions. Now, these are deep questions. I'm just going to prepare you ahead of time. If you're like, I don't know, just write it down and then take a little bit of time. Like I'm going to like kind of go a little bit fast here because we really want to honor your time. And if the things aren't coming to you, we will have a handout at the end where you can just be like, okay, maybe come back to the replay. You can listen to the questions, you can pause, you can take all the time and the space that you need. But for now, let's just do it together. We're going to see what comes. And we're just going to trust that God is giving us what we need for this exercise. Okay. So I want you to go ahead and stand up in a space where you have the ability to move around a little bit. Don't be in front of your desk right now. You do not need to see me. You only need to hear me. This could be, in the room you're in, move off to the side, maybe even in a hallway, maybe even go outside. So no tables, chairs, or anything blocking your path because you're going to be taking 4 big steps forward. And so if you can, just get into a space that has a great feeling for you and is quiet. Turn off your ringer, turn off your notifications, and then stand up and bring your journal, bring your notebook wherever, and, a pen, something to write with in. And let's assume that you are in your place now. And just go ahead, close your eyes, take that deep breath in. As you do, bring your attention and awareness to your thoughts, and allowing any other sounds or activities that may want your attention to just fade into the background. Take a deep breath and then just focus on your heart. Maybe even put your hand on your heart. And this is the space that you feel loved and you allow yourself to be loved. And then we're going to say, Holy Spirit, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for being with us, for guiding us, for giving us the answers to all the beautiful things that you have created us for. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your guidance. And thank you for everything that you are speaking to us right now. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Okay, now with your eyes still closed, I want you to imagine that out in front of you is a space. And I want you to take you can see it right now. This is where you have all the money you need to live the life of your dreams. There is plenty to take care of you and all the people that are important to you. And so with this, and because of this, your focus now is on your purpose and your impact. And in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes, and then on the count of 3, take a big step forward right into that space where you're living the life of your dreams. Once you step into the space of your dreams, of everything, the desires, the destinies that God has placed in your heart, we're going to look more about the purpose and impact that are most important to you. Okay. So open your eyes, and on the count of 3, take a big step forward right into that space where you're living the life of your dreams. 1, 2, 3, and step. Now just take a deep breath in and let that out. You are fully supported. You have every need met. You are overflowing with more than you will ever need. And from this space, I'm going to ask you some questions, and this is where you can start writing it down. As I ask each question, you're answering as if you're already living the life of your dreams. Now, the first question is, now that you have all the money you need and you're living the life of your dreams, what do you spend your time on? You are overflowing with everything you need. What do you spend your time on? So just go ahead and write down the first answers that come to your mind. Again, like I said, I'm going to be going through these a little bit quickly to honor your time, but if you need to come back and pause and really take some time here, please do that. And what do you feel is your purpose? You have more than enough. You're living the life of your dreams. What is your purpose? And from this place, what impact are you focusing on creating? What impact is God calling you to? Just be as specific as you can and listen, see what's coming up. Is there anything else that feels important to you regarding your purpose and impact? Just take some notes on anything else that comes up. Now with the sense that you have, and again, it could be broad, it could be specific, anywhere in between, whatever is coming up is perfect. But knowing that you now know your purpose, you know your impact. We're going to imagine that you've just learned that you have 5 more years of life. Knowing that the end of life is coming sooner rather than later, it's important to gain a new perspective and a sense of priorities. And to do that, I'm going to ask you on the count of 3 to step into the space of having just 5 years left of your life so you can discover what is most important to you. So again, we're going to take a step, 1, 2, 3, and then take 1 step forward and breathe this in and then let it out. And now that you're in this space of having just 5 more years left of life, let's discover what is your perspective and priorities. And as I ask each question, write down your answers on your piece of paper, remembering that as I ask each question, answer as if you have just 5 more years left of life. So the first one, knowing that the end of life is coming sooner rather than later, what will you do with this all-important final phase of your life? Just be honest. Write down the first answers that come to mind. What will you do? What will your focus be in these last 5 years of your life? And what will give your life meaning? What gives your life meaning right now? And what is the legacy that you want to leave? Another way of thinking about that question is, what is the meaning you want your life to have? So either the legacy you want to leave or the meaning you want your life to have. Writing down whatever comes to mind. And now if this, the life meaning that you want for your life In order to make that happen, what changes will you need to make? Again, being as specific as you possibly can.
Stop giving my time away to fucking them.
Is there
Yeah.
anything else that feels important to you about your perspective or priorities? Okay. So I know this is so deep and it's so personal, guys. We're just going to take it one level deeper. With this sense of perspective and priorities, you're going to imagine you've been told you just have one day left of life. With this knowledge, your focus is now on completion and closure. And once again, I'm going to ask you on the count of 3 to step into the space of having just one more day left to discover what is most important to you at this unique moment in time. So ready, 1, 2, 3, and step forward. And again, take in that big, deep breath and let it out. Knowing that, we're never promised another day. But with this space of having just one day left, what is most important to you? What do you want to be feeling? What do you want to be feeling? Knowing that we just have 24 more hours. Do you have dreams that you wish that had been fulfilled? And just being really honest. And now is the time to say what is most important to you. Are there any dreams that you wish that had been fulfilled? And now, are there any regrets? Or is there anything you wish you had done differently now that your life is about to be complete? Writing whatever comes to mind. And is there anything else that feels important to you regarding this final time of completion and closure? And now, with this experience and what you have learned here, we're just going to take one final step into the space of realization and renewal. Last step. So 1, 2, 3. Take that last step. In this space of realization and renewal, go ahead and physically turn around so you're looking back to where you started. Just take a big, deep breath in and then let it out. Take a moment to look back at what you experienced from completion and closure to perspectives and priorities, and then to purpose and impact. And from this space, let's look at your realizations. The first question is, as you look back, what is a realization that you've now had? And just be honest and write down the first answers that come to mind. What is a realization that you've now had? And what are you seeing that you want to change in your life? What are you seeing you want to change? And with that information, what choices or decisions will you now make? Being as specific as you can and allowing yourself to say what you know to be true for you now. In what area of your life do you most want to see a new choice or decision show up first? And by when? Again, being as specific as you can, you are going to be creating your brighter future with God because of the things that you've realized through this exercise. And is there anything else that feels important to you regarding this final piece of realization and renewal? Just kind of bringing this experience to a closure. We just say thank you, Heavenly Father, for being with us, for providing us with these downloads, for giving us important perspectives on our priorities, on how we want to be living out our life, and how you have created us to spend our time and the destinies that you have for each one of us. We thank you that we can start making steps today and that you are with us, guiding us every single step of the way. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Sometimes I have people just bawling with that exercise. I know that goes so deep, but is there anyone that wants to share anything about how that was? You don't have to come on camera, but I'm certainly inviting you if you do want to share. If there's any realizations that you had, maybe it's something new, maybe it's something you didn't even realize. You're like, oh gosh, I gotta start working on this or change this or pay attention to a priority that God maybe outlined. Is there anyone that wants to share? You don't have to, but
I will.
yeah, let's hear it.
So, I've known that I wanted a deeper relationship with my children. Growing up, emotions were very unsafe for me because I had a bipolar mother, and emotions were fraught with all kinds of consequences. So I learned to shut down my emotions and not show emotions. And so I wasn't very emotionally available to my children. And I've been working on this for a while now. And I really want to get to a place where emotions feel safe and to build a better relationship with my children. And going through this exercise, especially like the last day, it just showed how important and how large that desire is inside of me.
Amen. And you can start that today. So that's really what this is about, is just highlighting those desires of our heart that we can start working on right now. Thank you for sharing, Mary Beth. I am praying for that too. And Lori, did you want to share something?
Sure. Yeah, this was pretty powerful for me.
Wow.
I really got to the point where I have to stop focusing so much on trying to make money. One of my big goals is to quit my hospital job, my job that keeps me so busy and is so tiring. And like I'm missing a family reunion next week. And I don't have time to help like my children. So one of the things that I realized is what's really important. If I didn't have to worry about money, I would really spend time feeding into my children. They don't know Christ. That's my biggest goal is they're all suffering right now and I want them to know Christ. And, if I could repair some other relationships, just this morning, my mom was texting me and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. And it's so painful. And she just says, I think I'm better off not talking to you. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I really need to feed into my family. That's important. And I've grown so much especially since starting working with you in my relationship with Christ. And that's what's really important. I do want to reach out and help women and families with food by working in some like Feed My Starving Children or the Northern Illinois Food Bank. I really feel like I'm meant to spend my time helping others, but that's the biggest one, is knowing that my children are secure in their relationship with Jesus and that they can rebuild their lives. So I want to stop worrying about money.
Yes. Yeah. And I believe that God has placed that desire in your heart. Like that's from him. And so, and also I'm so sorry about your mom. I find that, yeah, hurt people. And, I really don't think it's anything you're doing wrong. So I wouldn't take that on personally at all, but just I will be praying for healing in that relationship because that's painful. That's
It is.
mm-hmm.
It's been repeated through the years, but
Yeah.
it's always my fault in her eyes.
Yeah.
So
No.
I do the best I can.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I don't want to end up with that kind of relationship with my kids. So, I am, definitely a follower of Christ. I want to help others grow in their relationship.
Amen. And he
So,
wants that too. He'll be there with you every step of the way.
I get nervous talking, but I know he's going to speak the words. He can win wars, he could win wars without even people fighting. He can give me the words to speak to them. And, he can, I'm praying he's chosen them and I can be the vehicle to get them to know him.
Absolutely, Lori. Oh, yeah.
So, sorry for the emotions, but it's been kind of an emotional day.
Mm-hmm. Understandably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. I think, yeah, I can speak for us all. We will be praying for you and for complete healing and for your kids' salvation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Of course. Okay. Oh gosh, I have not been looking at the chat. Is there anyone else that wants to share? Oh yeah, Eva. Hi.
Hello. Oh, Evangeline. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Carrie, for this. This is really, really great exercise. And me, like most women, most Christian women, I believe priority for me is relationships, right? First, with Jesus, spending time with Him, with the Holy Spirit, and really prioritizing that time. I just quit my job as a nurse after 30 years of like, I know God has been calling me into, a greater calling, and I'm so passionate about helping people with restoring their health, restoring every area of their lives and their relationships. And so I believe that that's what I want to be doing even up to 5 years of my life, or even and during that one day in your life, I think I want to be just praising God, and then surrounded by family, especially my kids, like you, Lori. My kids, they knew Jesus when they were children, but then of course college, university, they took Jesus out of our children's hearts. And but I believe and I decree and declare that Jesus will always be with them. That the
Amen.
Holy Spirit is always with them, protecting them, sustaining them. Even though we don't see that now, we know that, doesn't let God doesn't let them go, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we go, but really, He's always there. He pulls us out of whatever it is, because we've experienced that in our own lives. So
Yes.
we know that the faithfulness that Christ showed us, He will be faithful to our children also. He will do it for them. He will do it for our mothers who were immature. I grew up with a very immature mother. She had depression. I was rejected as a child. So, it's a deep healing that I have experienced. And I know that God is continuing to restore especially us women who really love the Lord and who wants to be obedient to the calling that He has for us. So I believe those are the two most important things for me is really my relationship with Christ,
Yeah.
Obedience to the Holy Spirit, and then of course letting others know that there really is hope and a future, and we shouldn't be tired of doing what God has called us to do because we will be rewarded. So thank you, everyone. And I think I wouldn't have any regrets my last day on earth because I've already surrendered everything to Him and I'm walking in obedience to what He's calling me to.
Oh,
Thanks.
praise God. Amen. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I love hearing this, you guys. Okay. And I see June wants to quit her nursing job as well. Yes. Okay. Thank you for taking part. I know this was emotional and I know it's not easy to be looking at all of this, but thank you for being here, for being willing to go a little deep. And we're going to start wrapping it up. We have been hoping to keep this at, well, around 45 minutes, but we're just going to be going a little bit longer today. Oh yeah, and Lori's quitting her nursing job too. Amen to to going all in on what God has for us. So, I am just going to be sharing I know I've shared this with a lot of you, but the prophetic vision that God has given me for legacy builders. I believed, and just a little bit of the story. In March of this year, I was helping a friend. She's a local friend here in the Minneapolis area. She has a Christian TV show. And she said, "Hey, Carrie, would you be willing to host this with me?" And I'm like, "Sure, that sounds great." So she's like, "Yeah, just introduce the guy, a little bit of commentary." I was like, "Yeah, that sounds amazing." So I was on her show hosting and it was this prophetic man. He's a pastor. His name is Moses Rankin. He's from the UK. Amazing accent, just lovely, fiery guy. And I loved what he was speaking on, but at the end, she said, "Okay, thank you. We have a little bit of time left. Is there anything else that you want to say or add or, anything?" And he looked directly at me and he was like, "You." And he was like, "I have a word for you." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm going to read a little bit about that because it's not just for me, it's actually for all of you as well. And it is powerful. So I have it printed out. I read this every single morning because, guys, I still get scared about what God's calling me to. I still am sometimes nervous to post, or I even, coming on here, I'm like, "Oh, be with me." So I have to be walking in obedience to what He's calling me to. If I were to do this on my own will, it would not be any good. So I just want to read this because, yes, there's a part for me, but also there's a part for you. So this was from Moses Rankin on this TV show on March 24th of this year. So he says, "I've seen the Lord is going to cause a wealth transfer anointing upon your life, where it's going to cause people to not just be prominent in Christian circles, but you're going to prepare Christians for the marketplace, prosperity in the marketplace. And there's a grace on you to understand systems and workings of how things are put together. God's going to give you the ability to train people to penetrate the systems of the enemy. Train people how to penetrate the wisdom of the serpent. And so they will go into Babylonian systems and they will come back and bring wealth into the kingdom for the transfer. You are a wealth, I know, amen, right? You are a wealth transfer agent and will begin to train and raise my people into systems of wealth generation. There's almost a millionaire grace that's going to come upon you that isn't to make you wealthy, but to make others wealthy. And He's going to cause that to manifest for your heart is to see people out of poverty. Your heart is to see them out of their problems because God says, I put you through that process first. I put you in the problem first. I put you in a situation until you experience the pain of that problem to make you the solution. And by then I am bawling. I just like, what? Like, how does a person I have never met in my life know that about me, know the desires of my heart? Because it's not for me. It is to see other women, to see other families out of the pain of having money hold these tight, chains on us and the stress of that. And so I was like, wow, okay, Lord, thank you. Now, at the day I received that, I was like, this is for my coaching. This is amazing. My women are, gonna go into the Babylonian system, bring back wealth for the transfer. And I was super excited about that. And I believed that was for that. However, about 3 weeks later, God was very specific. I was just spending some time with him, and he said, Carrie, that's not for your coaching. That is for the Legacy Builders program. And I was like, oh dear. I was like, I'm already coaching. I have a lot on my plate. I don't know if I want to add to anything. So I kind of had like a little mini temper tantrum, but he was still good. He's still faithful. He still walked me through it all. And he was like, nope, that's for something else. So it's like, okay, now it's about obedience. It's not, does Carrie want to do this or not? It was about, nope, the Lord's asking me to do this. I am going to do this. And, they have a 2-hour blueprint. We'll be talking a little bit about that later. I was like, okay, I'm giving it 10 hours a week and we will see how this goes. I knew that if the Lord was calling me to it, there's going to be something good. So, it's not always money that we're going to be getting, but like, I knew that there was going to be something good. So I took the plunge, and you'll be hearing about how it goes in just a little bit, throughout the rest of this week. But let me just tell you that this Legacy Builders program, there's 4 different levels. The highest one is $900. It is very affordable. The coaching in there is incredible. And as of this morning, I had 3 more enrollments, so I am at over 100 women in less than 2 months. Well, it was 2 months on Saturday, so not less than 2 months, at a really much about 2 months. So I'll let you do the math on that, but God is good. He is faithful. He has told me my hand is on this and my breath is on this. And so I just feel like it's doing a disservice to not share it with others. I really believe in it. And I just want you to have the opportunity to learn and then make a decision for yourself. Crystal and I are just sharing. We're just the sharers. And then you ask God about, is this the right thing for me? Is it not? And we'll be sharing more details later. But I just wanted to share that really powerful prophetic word. So
thank you so much, Carrie, for sharing that prophetic word. And I think this is something that's really important, whatever your vision or your calling is, to say it to yourself. Like if you have a prophetic word, or even if you don't have a prophetic word, but this is your calling, write it out, speak it out. Look at yourself even in the mirror and say it to yourself in the mirror. And we will get a copy of this prophetic vision to each of you. And we would love, even because this was a prophetic vision, not just for Carrie.
Yeah.
It was for the woman of God. Because all of us, every single one of you who is here in this room right now, and everyone who is hearing this on recording, we are here to be the wealth transfers. We are here. Every single calling that is in your heart is actually there because God put it there.
Yeah.
And if it's actually there because God put it there, it means it can be fulfilled. Even if right now it feels hopeless, even if right now it feels hard, even if right now it feels trying, that calling is there because it does come to fruition. And I think this is the biggest, if we can change our perspective, instead of thinking of it as a want or a wish, like I wish, no, your calling is actually what you do fulfill. And when we can see that, like Carrie was like, okay, I'm going to take ownership of this prophecy over my life. And if this is what it happens, then what does it look like? How do I live it out? And it's the same thing. If it is to see yourself financially free, that's because in the future, that's actually who you are. You were actually debt free in the future. And God is putting that desire in your heart so you see who you are becoming. If it is that you are building wells, that is really what you are actually going to do. And so the biggest thing we have to have is have faith. Have faith in our calling. And also there's 3 types of faith that I always like to break down to people that we can grow in. One is faith in God, faith in ourselves, and faith in systems that work. So 3 types of faith, and all 3 of them are really important. And I'll go into that probably later in as the week goes on. But I wanted to just say, yeah, we've brought you all here because we know that you do have a calling to fund. And as the week goes on, we are going to share about both legacy builders as well as how you can tell your story to be able to change lives and to bring in the funds. So we wanted to start out today, though, on vision. What is your vision? What is your purpose? What are the prophetic visions being spoken over the woman of God right now, right here? And how can we take that to heart? And then somebody asked about, is this program, the Legacy Builders, something that's easy to set up on the tech side? And so first of all, we're just going to share a little bit now because really like today was about getting to know what your calling is that you do want to fund, right? And then Legacy Builders is one of the ways to fund it. Carrie has made crazy money the last 2 months. Crazy money in 2 months. That's like blow your mind. And it's just going to keep going. But each of us, that's what's going to happen with each of us. Each of us is stepping into our power, into our strength with God's power, right? With God's calling on our lives. This is who we're becoming. We are becoming the wealth transfers. And even if it doesn't feel like in your current situation, what I want you to do is what does it to really today go out into your day and ask God, how does it feel when I am that wealth transfer? What does that feeling feel like? Because so many times we know what our past feels like, or we know what our current situation feels like, but God wants to bring us into the feeling of what He has for us. And so I just want you to know, and that feeling, I want you to feel it inside your whole entire being. Just pray, Holy Spirit, let me feel your presence. Let me feel your hope. And I know you guys are going to feel that hope. And we are going to introduce to you about how you can use Legacy Builders. We are going to introduce to you how you can use your story. But today we just want to know your calling is so beautiful and there's so much hope for you. And the program, the Legacy Builders we're going to be talking about is to help bring in daily passive income. And one of the questions I would just love to leave you with, and then Carrie will also kind of wind things up, is how would daily passive income change your life right now? How would daily passive income help you to spend more time with your children? Help you to get out of debt? Help you to feed the hungry? Like what came from me on the last day on this activity the last day, I was like, well, first of all, I'm throwing the biggest party ever, and we're all dancing a lot. But I was like, I would on that last day ever, with my wealth, buy as many children out of slavery as possible. That was the thing that came to me, that and that they would not only just not that they would be bought out, but it'd be like boom, laid in front of their lives, their school, their provision, everything, that all of the children on this planet would be free. We are mothers in this group. We are grandmothers in this group. Our calling is first to our children, but it's also to the children of the world, and for every child to have their freedom, every child to have their education, every child to have a place to call home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amen. Preach. Love that. And thank you for sharing your big vision, what you have done, guys. This isn't just something someday, like you can actually make this happen. And I believe that if God is calling you to it, he will give you everything that you need to see it out. So thank you for being here. We're going to put the question of the day for day 1 into the Facebook group. And again, that's just your only homework, is just to get clear on what God is calling you to. That's what we want you to be keeping at the forefront of this week. And thank you for being here. It's so special to have time with you. Thank you for sharing, Evangeline and Lori and Mary Beth. And you guys are amazing. So please continue to join us this week. And if you know of any other ladies that need to be in here, or men, invite them in, and they are all welcome and encouraged to be here. And stay tuned for more. But we love you. Praying blessings on the rest of your day. And again, thank you for being here. So.
And remember to comment in the group and
Yes.
about what you feel your calling is, because first of all, we just all want to hear. And second of all, the more comments you get in there, the more likely you are to get the prize at the end, to be able to have an hour with each of us.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, same place, same time. We'll see you tomorrow. Love you guys. Take care.
Thank you for being here, everyone.
Yeah. Amen.